Hi, my name is Jaunita, and my capstone presentation will be on how has the pandemic affected early childhood literacy in Illinois. I'd like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Jaunita Jones, and I'm a United States Air Force veteran and current military spouse. I have a background in team leadership, software as a service, and project management. When I found out my family and I would be moving to a new city, I knew I wanted to pursue a new career. I have always loved learning and solving problems with data, and after researching, I found Savvy Coders. I attended a preview and immediately knew I would join the program. I am an avid reader and lifelong learner. This is something I hope to instill in my own children. During the pandemic, there were several challenges for working parents trying to juggle their daily work schedule while homeschooling or assisting their children with virtual learning. I have two early learner age children. Here is a photo of us from last year. And yes, my husband is very silly. My passion for early learning started when my daughter was around 1.5. She had memorized her ABCs and was memorizing the books I was reading to her. I knew I needed to nurture her excitement for learning. A year later, we moved to Illinois. Once here, her preschool advised she could start the Preschool for All program. Before she could start the program, the pandemic started and the world shut down. We had to keep the children home, and it made working while nurturing their continued education difficult. For my capstone, I decided to research how the pandemic has affected the developmental readiness of kindergartners in Illinois with a focus on language and literacy. For my research, I used the Illinois State Board of Education data over a 4-year period as my data source. I used Python, Excel, and Tableau to clean and organize the data to answer my questions. Please allow me to present to you my results. In order to stay on task during the cohort, we used JIRA to create sprints and raise any issues or roadblocks we may have encountered. During the first half of the cohort, I acted as product owner. It was my job to manage our backlog. I found tools like the flow diagram useful in showing our weekly progress. Learning Agile has been critical to the way I will handle workload and how I will distribute tasks in my next role. As you can see on our JIRA board, purple is the to-do and done is in green. During the beginning, we had a lot of to-do work to do, and we over time learned how to manage our time better, how to properly use sprint points so we could set the length of time that we needed to get our work done efficiently and quickly. So as you can see over time, we were able to plan a little more efficiently and knock out our work at a much quicker rate. I pulled a quote from the Illinois State Board of Education website. It states less than 1/3 of Illinois kindergartners begin school ready as of 2019. Ready means a grade level for math, language and literacy, and social development. I really wanted to find out how Illinois plans to improve this statistic. I discovered the Preschool for All program was started in 1985, but was not fully funded until 2016. During my research, I noticed the number of students entering kindergarten developmentally ready in language and literacy has increased year over year until the pandemic started. It is the same for ready in all 3 areas. It has increased the number of students who are developmentally ready in math, language, and social development has increased year over year despite the pandemic. Preschool for All program is offered through several institutions such as public and private school, family childcare, Head Start, and faith-based programs. It is available for all, but not every student is enrolled. What the data shows over the next 3 graphs is that despite the global disaster the pandemic caused, more students had access to the Preschool for All program before the shutdown. In the fall of 2022, after 2 years of no data because of the pandemic and school shutting down and children being at home or in a different type of childcare, we see a 3% drop in the number of students developmentally ready in language and literacy. What we do see with Ready in all three is that students, we see a 3% increase in students ready in all three. So despite the pandemic, we see that there are more students ready in all three than there was back in 2019. We see a slight decrease in the number of students that are ready in language and literacy. Here's another graph just to show the upward trend and then the very, very slight decrease in the fall of 2022. In the fall of 2017, 27% of students were ready in all three developmental areas, and 47% were ready in language and literacy. By 2022, 39% were ready in all three developmental areas, and 52% were ready in language and literacy. While these changes are small, the Preschool for All program has only been funded since 2016. Here's another graph to show just the difference between fall 2017 and fall 2022. There is an increase in the number of students developmentally ready in all three areas. This year, the governor of Illinois has called for universal preschool for all by 2027. Should this policy become law, even more students will have a chance to become developmentally ready by kindergarten. I created a pivot table in Excel to show me the totals in a little bit more plain English, as well as creating a line graph. And as you can see, this gives us the average of students developmentally ready from the fall of 2017 through the fall of 2022. For my capstone, I used pandas to merge my three data sets into one big data set and to clean the data. I used the Jaunita functions to remove null values. One of my biggest challenges was debugging my code. I was unable to get one of my files read into Python. It turned out one file had backslashes instead of forward slashes. It took quite a while for me to figure out what was causing the error. I appreciate this cohort for forcing me to dig deeper into my Python studies and gain a greater understanding of Python and analytics overall. Here is my code. And what I did was I imported pandas as a library. I read in 3 Excel files into Python. And this third one here is where I had backslashes, and it was giving me an error over and over again. Once I figured that out, I named my data frames. I selected the columns needed. I had about 50 columns. I only needed 3 of them, so I used Python to decrease the amount of columns that I would have in my final data set. Once I had the columns I needed, I joined those columns into one Excel sheet. I concatenated those data frames, and that created my one large data set from the 3 data sets I originally started with. Once that was completed, I used Jaunita to drop null values and give me the clean data I needed to create my graphs. In conclusion, the impact of the pandemic on students' language and literacy has been evidenced with a slight decrease in the number of students deemed developmentally ready. There is positive news to highlight as well, as the number of students who are developmentally ready in all 3 areas has increased. This outcome underscores the effectiveness of the Preschool for All program in addressing additional educational disparities and providing more children in Illinois with an opportunity to begin their school journeys. It's a noteworthy accomplishment that benefits not only the state of Illinois, but also the children and families residing here, making a significant win for all stakeholders involved. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and have a great day.